Those here from New Zealand, I hope know that we are in the middle of implementing a brand new financial services regime here, largely by way of the Financial Markets Conduct Act. That act brings a significant amount of change right across financial services, ranging from new capital raising structures to driving improvements in professional standards. So I'm often asked what the effect will be of that act as it starts to bite. And I hope and I expect that over the long term, say 5 years for instance, that the biggest change will be a significant and genuine shift in culture within financial services in New Zealand. And in talking about the culture, the attitude that we would expect from the industry, I like to steal from the Bill Clinton election campaign in, I think, '92, where in his campaign headquarters he had someone write up on the wall, "It's the economy, stupid." So I like to say, it's the customer, stupid. And boiled down, the new provisions of our legislation say to professionals, make sure you put the interest of the customer first, always. And that's not a requirement for truthfulness, because that's to be expected and that's an absolute bare minimum. It actually requires the industry to go much further than that. And we look to the industry to be asking themselves a number of questions about how they interact with their customers. And I'll list a few just to give you a flavour. Is this really the right product or service for this client? Does the client really understand the downside risk and what it might mean to them in a material sense if that risk came to pass? Should I be advising the client on risk mitigation strategies to take in conjunction with the product I'm offering them? And what we're saying to the New Zealand financial markets is, going forward, you have to be able to answer those sorts of questions if you're to have any confidence that you're actually treating customers in the way that we expect you to. For financial services here in New Zealand, the statistics on complaint numbers can be a little bit hard to interpret, not least because mandatory membership of the alternative dispute resolution schemes has only been going for a while. It was only required from 2010. So that means a lot of the firms, the providers of financial services, have only come into those schemes in the last few years. That being said, not surprisingly, complaint numbers are up by 16% in 2013 for the New Zealand Banking Ombudsman, as an example. And there was a survey done here last year, I believe, into ADR schemes and how they'd bedded down in financial services and what the awareness was of those schemes. And as I noted earlier, this is relatively new for New Zealand, so some of these statistics are not especially surprising. But there are basically 4 schemes, including one that is effectively a default scheme for providers who don't sign up to any of the others. And in the Ministry of Business report, I'll use the word equivocation. I think the lack of certainty expressed by the industry was too high. It was disappointingly high. So for instance, 60% of those surveyed were and these are the providers, were unsure about the value of their membership or believed that the membership was not actually good value for money. More than half of the providers surveyed were unsure that the service provided a good outcome for complainants. And more than 55% were unsure as to whether the schemes provided good outcomes for the providers. So those numbers are too high. So we have to build confidence in those schemes amongst the providers if consumers are to enjoy the benefits. As a regulator, and for you as dispute resolution schemes and services and providers, it tells us something else pretty obvious, which is that we all have a long-term interest in each other. And I'm sure in all of the sectors represented here today, that will be a theme of this conference. And the job that we all do as regulators of retail services, both on behalf of consumers and providers, is only going to get bigger. Thank you.